Hello friends. Today I bring a new video, the French Revolution, part second in front of you. Hope you enjoyed the previous video. In this video we discuss the following points. Did women have a revolution? The abolition of slavery, the revolution and everyday life, conclusion, rise of Napoleon, and chronology. Women's political curve. Through the revolution, women got platform, had their own club and newspapers. That time there were 16 women clubs activated. Popular club was the Society of Revolutionary and Republican Women. This was the strongest uh, uh, club among these 16 women clubs. Now we discuss about the Olympe De Gouges, most important of the politically active women in revolutionary frame, criticized Jacobin repressive measures, wrote Declaration of the Right of Women and Citizens. She wrote this declaration against the rights of men and citizens because there will be no rights given to women on this right. Tried, executed for treason. Some demands of women, some political rights as men, rights to vote, to hold political officers, to be elected in the assembly. Some changes in women's condition. Revolutionary government introduced law that helped improve the lives of women. Schooling was made compulsory for all girls. Their fathers could no longer force them into marriage against their will. Divorce was made legal and could be applied by for both men and women. Women could now train for jobs, could become artists or run their small businesses. Finally, in 1946, that women in France won the right to vote. Some of the basic rights set forth in Olympe De Gouges Declaration. Women is born free and remain equal to men in rights. The goal of all political associations is the preservation of the natural rights of women and men. These rights are liberty, property, security, and above all resistance to oppression. The source of all sovereignty resides in the nations, which is nothing but the union of women and men. The law should be the expression of the general will. All females and male citizens should have a say either personally or by their representatives in its formulation. It should be the same for all. All females and male citizens are equal, entitled to all honors and public employment according to their abilities and without any other distinctions than that of their talent. No woman is an exception. She is accused, arrested, and detained in case determined by law. Women, like men, obey this rigorous law. The abolition of slavery, the social reforms by the Jacobin regime was the abolition of slavery in the French colonies. Slave trade began in 17th century. Labor shortage met by triangular slave trade. You can see here triangular slave trade between three continents: first Europe, second Africa, and third America. And how was uh, triangular slave trade worked? French merchants sailed from the ports of Bordeaux or Nantes to the African coast, where they bought slaves from local chieftains, branded and shackled. The slaves were packed tightly into ships for the 3 months long voyage across the Atlantic to the Caribbean. They were sold to plantation owners. So, this was the triangular slave trade. Friends, you can see here the political map of the France. Here you can see Nantes and Bordeaux. These palaces were famous for slavery trade, and you can see here Marseille. The Marseille was famous because first time the France national anthem sung here, and the Paris is the capital of France. These are the neighboring countries of the France: Belgium, Switzerland, uh, Austria. Here you can see Austria, Italy, Spain, and Britain. These palaces can be asked in your exam, so observe them carefully. This was the political map of the France. Convention and abolition of the slavery. Conviction legislate to free all slaves in 1794. Abolition turned out to be a short-term measure. After 10 years, Napoleon reintroduced slavery. Slavery was finally abolished in France colonies in 1848 after criticism. The revolution and everyday life. Revolutionary government passed laws to implement the idea of equality, liberty, and fraternity. Abolition of censorship introduced by the monarch. Publication of newspapers, books, printed pictures began. Ideas of the philosophers spread through the print. People discussed all changes happening in France during the long revolutionary time. Conclusion. Rise of Napoleon. Napoleon became the Emperor of France in 1804, conquered neighboring European countries, protect private property, introduced many reforms, introduced uniform weights and measures, considered as a liberator who would bring freedom for the people, reintroduced slavery, finally defeated at Waterloo in 1815. Chronology. 1774, Louis XVI became the King of France, faces the empty treasure and growing dis- discontent. 5th May 1789, Convention of Estates General in Versailles. 20th June 1789, Tennis Court Oath and formed National Assembly. 14th July 1789, storming of Bastille and outbreak of French Revolution. 1614, last meeting of Estates General held before 1789. 4th August 1789, National Assembly passed a decree abolishing feudal system of obligation of taxes. 1791, Constitution was framed by National Assembly. April 1792, National Assembly voted to declare war against Prussia and Austria. 10th August 1792, stormed the palace of Tuileries, massacred the king's guards, and held the king himself as hostages. 21st September 1793, abolition of monarchy and declared France a republic. 21st January 1793, execution of King Louis XVI. 1793-1794, reign of terror. July 1794, Maximilien Robespierre arrested and sent to the guillotine. 1795, dictatorial rule in France started. 1804, Napoleon rose to power, become the Emperor of France. 1815, Napoleon was defeated in Waterloo. Congress of Vienna restored order and established a balance of power. 1821, Napoleon died. Thank you for watching.